All right. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How's it going? I am Is There No One Else, and I'm going to take a sip of coffee here. I am bringing you my Stamina Necromancer build for the Scalebreaker patch. Now, this will probably be my last build that I post for Scalebreaker. I'll probably do the rest of my videos off the PTS and all of that, and then when the new patch drops, I will come out with new builds. But I've been playing this for like the last week and a half now. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I found it to be pretty effective. I know that, Stamina Necromancer, basically anything that's not a Templar, is in a little bit of a rough patch due to the dots and everything. And so if I find something effective, I like to post it for you guys to show you what I'm running so you guys can get an idea. Maybe you just have an urge to play Stamina Necromancer and you want to run it. This has been very effective for me. We're going to do what we always do. We're going to dive through the gear. We're going to explain why we chose what we chose, all of that. And then I will provide alternatives if you don't want to run what I'm running and you just think I'm being a little bitch about some of the stuff that I'm running. So with that being said, guys, let's dive into it. The first set we're running, we're just going to dive right into it. We are running 5-piece Pariah. So we're running 3 jewelry, all weapon damage, all robust, and then we're running the legs and chest prismatics. Now, there are multiple options for a defensive set. This is a medium armor build. We are running 5 medium and 2 heavy. We're trying to utilize as many effective skills in this patch as possible. But Pariah is a nice defensive set. I found that, if you try to attempt to go a traditional medium armor build with lower resistances, you just have too much unavoidable damage with dots. So I think you need to run something that gives you some resistances. Now, is Pariah the best? It's subjective, guys. It's going to come down to your own personal preference. I think it's been very effective. You could run Fortified Brass if you wanted to. You could run Impregnable. Those are both also awesome options. Impregnable will be better, for dealing with Onslaught since, Onslaught's ignoring resistances. You can reduce the crit damage, the amount of burst that it can provide. Fortified Brass is resistances on demand. Pariah, I didn't want to make Fortified Brass jewelry. I already had Pariah. I'm also a vampire, so as we lose health, as we lose our health, we gain more resistances and we get the undeath passive. So this build gets very, very thick with the amount of resistances and the undeath passive that we have. So we'll have to see how everything shakes out, but I do like this set, this patch. 2-piece Bloodspawn, both medium since we are running 5 medium, all impenetrable. As far as monster sets go, guys, you can absolutely run. You're going to have pretty good resistances. Like fully buffed, I'm at around 38,000 with this build. And so we don't necessarily need Bloodspawn. But with that being said, like having the damage mitigation, since people are running decent pen, having the ulti-gen and having the stamina recovery is valuable. The other options you could run, Scalebreaker, Balorg, Thurvokin would be good if you want to do the minor maim plus the minor defile. Those would be my other 3 choices for this if you don't want to run Bloodspawn. But Bloodspawn's been working out very well for me. Ulti-gen being able to get our high ultimates back, like our high cost ultimates back, has been very, very nice. And then finally, 5-piece Scalebreaker on the front bar. Now, I've talked about the set a lot. Max stamina, stamina recovery, weapon damage, 2, 3, and 4-piece is fantastic. And then the 5-piece increases your damage done by 6%. This effect is doubled when attacking targets with the damage shield active. Now, guys, Scalebreaker versus Brigands, in my opinion, comes down to one thing. Are you using Onslaught or are you using something else? If you're using Onslaught, Scalebreaker is going to be better than Brigands because it increases your damage done. You're already ignoring all resistances. The 5-piece Brigands is wasted in that situation. As far as other front bar sets that give you good damage, Hunding's Rage will not give you as much damage as Scalebreaker will on this build. It gives you about 1,000 less tooltip damage on your Onslaught. You do get the crit modifiers, and it is flat weapon damage, so it does buff your rally. If you want a higher rally tooltip, guys, run Hunting's Rage. If you guys want even more burst and you want to run like Clever Alchemist, that's fine. I like Clever Alchemist as a set. I do not like Clever Alchemist in solo PvP because there's too many times where I have to pop a pot defensively, and I can't use it to go offensive. And so I especially with how Blast Bones is currently working, where it doesn't always land properly, and I can't guarantee that I can line up my burst very well with Alchemist. I'd rather just have a damage set like Scalebreaker. So next patch, we'll probably be looking at Moon Acolyte front bar. I'm going to be testing that. I think Moon Acolyte will be better next patch, but this patch, I really, really like Scalebreaker. I think Scalebreaker is great for Onslaught for that reason. We are running an infused Master's Bow with weapon and spell damage on the back bar. Now you can go defending, powered, Nern, infused. I go back and forth personally between Nern and infused. I wanted that little extra burst, so I'm going infused, but like you're not going to go wrong with either one. We do have very good damage with this build with all the different modifiers that we have. And I'll dive into that and I'll kind of explain it to you. Double damage health poisons, Nern Maul. Now the reason I went with the Nern Maul, guys, is Nern Greatsword will give you more damage, with Onslaught, because you get the passive bonus from running a Greatsword, running Nern. However, Nern Maul meets that middle ground to where like you can still kill people without Onslaught. If you want to have crazier, higher Onslaught burst damage, absolutely run a Nern Greatsword. You could run a Sharpened Greatsword, whatever. But I found Nern Maul for my preferences to be better just all around. Where it still helps our ultimate a little bit, but it also stacks into just having a little bit more pen to finish people off. I think that's pretty valuable. As far as consumables go, I am an Imperial on this build, guys. Now, I went Imperial for two reasons. Number one, I'm big into RP, and I wanted to just be an Imperial Necromancer because it just fits the mold. I'm just kidding. The main reason I did this, guys, is because when I was testing on the PTS and I was looking at Necromancers, I found that they have a lot of skills that like support skills that cost Magicka or health, and having that reduced cost that an Imperial gives you across the board is pretty valuable. And so I've always wanted to try an Imperial. I wanted to see how it worked, and since I was making a new class, it was a lot cheaper than race changing a class to try out Imperial. It does work out pretty well since we can use our Intensive Mender more. If we wanted to use Hexproof, it would cost a little bit less. If you do not have Imperial, you can absolutely run Orc, you can run Wood Elf, you can run Khajiit. Those would be my other top three choices. Orc would be the best choice out of those three in my opinion. You might have to change a couple enchants to fit the recovery that you would need, but Orc is always good. I just went Imperial for that reason. I'm not saying it's best, but it is working out very well. So that's why I went that way. But because of the Imperial passives and because of the Necromancer passives of having max health, we can run this pretty easily. I'm at 25k health in PvP, so I can run max stamina and stamina recovery. So it boosts my damage a little bit more than Artaeum. It boosts my damage a little bit more than Dubious, and I get a little bit more recovery. So I could just stack more into that because of the health bonuses that I have. I am running Detect Bots for those pesky Nightblades. You always have to have Detect Bots around you. I am running these Essence of Health pots, health, stamina, and health per second. Very, very valuable in Scalebreaker. A lot of people are just dotting you down, trying to cheese you up as much as possible. This gives you a better chance to survive. If you're having a hard time with survival and you cannot afford these because these can be expensive, absolutely just run tripods. Or you can run these weapon crit pots depending on what your skills are in your front bar. I run these as well. It just kind of depends on like what I'm doing. They're more than fine. Or you can run immovable pots, whatever. But yeah, tripods or these with Detect Pots is about the route I would go. If we look at our character sheet, guys, this is our back bar. 11k maximum Magicka, 25k health, just under 35k stamina, 2152 stamina recovery unbuffed. Like I said, this is the back bar. Our resistances are at 18,000 unbuffed. If we buff up on our back bar at 23.4 for both of them, when our Bloodspawn procs, that jumps up to 29. With Pariah fully procced, that jumps up to 38. And so as we get lower and lower health, our resistances shoot higher. We're tougher to kill. With the Undeath passive, we do become very, very tanky in a medium armor build for that reason. So if you don't want to do this and you want the resistance all the time, like I said, go with the Fortified Brass. That'll work just fine, but I like this for that reason. If we go to our front bar and we look at our damage, we're at 2,300 stamina recovery. If we pop a pot, sorry about that. We're at 2,600 stamina recovery, 3,400 weapon damage. Now, with our infused bow on our back bar, this jumps up to about 4,500 weapon damage. With a continuous, we're at around 5k weapon damage, fully buffed. So we do have good damage with this setup. We do hit very hard. On top of that, guys, we do have hidden damage with Scalebreaker. So our Scalebreaker damage isn't showing up on our toolkit. So although our weapon damage looks okay, it's even higher because of that passive bonus that we're running. On top of that, we are running the off-balance passives. for Exploiter, and we are running Minor Berserk, so we have 10% and 8% damage on that as well. So we do have a lot of modifiers to an already pretty good weapon damage bonus that will allow us to hit even harder. So I've found this patch when you're running medium armor, especially on a Necromancer, I like my recovery a little bit higher because we need a kite, we need to move around. There's sometimes like it feels like shuffle doesn't always. You're still snared in place even in 5 medium, and so you have to dodge roll a little bit more, you have to heal a little bit more. We're going to utilize everything in our toolkit. We're going to have really good healing with this build, we're going to have really good resistances with this build, and we're going to be able to dodge incoming damage with this build. So we have multiple different ways to fight multiple different types of builds. And so this is a very, very well-rounded build, in my opinion. As I said, Stage 4 Vampire, Serpent Mundus Stone. If you need less recovery and you think that, hey, this is way too much, that's fine. You can obviously switch the Serpent to the Warrior or the Tower or whatever, and you can have more damage that way. You can absolutely build more damage into this setup. This is just how I like it. As far as our front bar goes, we are running Reverse Slice. Now, we are running an AoE ultimate on our back bar. When we're fighting severely outnumbered, I will cast the Blast Bones, I will go into my back bar ultimate, and I will hit Reverse Slice and hope to kill 2, 3, 4 people with it very, very quickly. If you want the higher execute damage, you absolutely can do it. I personally think that Reverse Slice is a little bit better for that reason. On top of that, guys, because Blast Bones gives us Defile, people won't be able to recover as well anyways, and so I find I don't need Executioner with a Necromancer as much as I would need it on other classes. That's my preference. If you guys disagree with me, run Executioner. It's not a big deal. We just agree to disagree. This is the biggest flex spot in this entire build, guys. I am currently running Camouflage Hunter. This skill is fantastic. It pulls Nightblades out of stealth. Because it is a Fighter's Guild skill, it increases our weapon damage by 3%, so we do hit a little bit harder. That doesn't show up on our tooltip. We get Major Savagery, increasing our weapon critical rating, and if we hit somebody from the side, we can get Minor Berserk for 5 seconds, increasing your damage done by 8%. So basically, if you're looking at somebody, we're gonna go over here. We are going to look at this NPC. This passive will basically proc from shoulder to shoulder and behind them. So anything from somebody's 3 o'clock all the way around to their 9 o'clock. If you guys know, look at a clock and you guys can see that. The bottom half of a clock is what you would hit them with to proc this thing. Since we dodge roll a lot, since we're kiting a lot, we will proc this a lot, and we will be able to get Minor Berserk quite a bit. Regardless, even if we don't proc a lot because somebody's always standing in front of us or whatever, it's still a useful skill because of everything that it does. And so very, very valuable for that reason. If you do not want to run Camo Hunter, next patch this will be Turn Evil, for the CC. You can absolutely run Hexproof or Expunge and Modify in this specific spot. The reason I'm not running the Necromancer Purifies is because currently, guys, you get dotted down very quickly against some people. A lot of people, they run their normal dots or whatever, and some people realize how powerful dots are, and they're like, you know what? I'm going to put on Soul Trap, I'm going to put on Flame Reach, I'm going to put on Entropy, and I'm going to hit with my class dot. I'm going to hit you with 4 dots, and they're all going to tick for 6 to 7k. When all of a sudden, you get hit with all that and you're trying to recover, using health to purify those dots off just doesn't seem as valuable to me as it would be to just try to heal through it and dodge roll and kite. We do have very high healing. There's not many instances where I really have to worry about too many incoming dots. We are very tanky with this build. So that's what I prefer. If you want to run Expunge and Modify or Hexproof, you can. If you don't want to run either one of those and you want a Gap Closer, Stampede is a great option. It would pull Nightblades out of stealth as well, since it's got that AoE dot, and it allows you to finish off kills a little bit better. All 3 of those are pretty good choices, in my opinion. Rally, really big burst heal, very valuable for the dot meta. You want to make sure you have this up all the time because it's such a great heal. Blighted Blast Bones, fully buffed with Rally. This isn't fully buffed, by the way, but with Rally, we're at a 16,000 Blast Bones. When we hit with our light attack and poison injection, it goes up to about 18,000. If we have Exploiter and if we do Minor Berserk, this will jump to about 22,000 guys for our Blast Bones. So very, very high tooltip damage for our Blast Bones. It also does Major Defile. Doesn't always land. That's fine. We still love Blast Bones even if it wants to just watch us 1vx. It is what it is, but we do have a very high tooltip for this build. D-swing, fully buffed with rally. We're looking at 14,567. As I said, this jumps up to about 20,000. You know, with all those passes that I just told you about, our D-swing is going to jump up to about 20. We hit very hard with D-swing, and we will have both of those with decent uptime. Onslaught, talked about Onslaught a lot. It's a very good ultimate, very high burst. It allows you to just finish kills. This, when it all lands, you can just delete health bars very, very quickly. And so when you're 1vxing, burst is key. Next patch, burst will be key. Like I said, we have a very, very solid Onslaught tooltip. You know, 18,000 with rally. This jumps up to like 22, 23 if I remember correctly. So pretty good. Back bar, guys. There are 3 ultimates that I think are very good. You can choose whatever you want. As I said, I'm a vampire. I do use Devouring Swarm in solo play. Your ultimates scale off of your max stats. And so although it does magic damage, we do get scaling with our max stamina and our weapon damage. We actually have pretty good damage with Devouring Swarm. On top of that, it also heals us. So if we get 5, 6, 7 people jump on us, we could pop bats. It will keep us alive to where we can maneuver around and find a spot to rework things. We have speed, we have high damage mitigation, we have healing. This allows us to just finish people. I have popped bats, killed 2 to 3 people with bats and a blast bones. It is very good damage. But the healing is one of the reasons I'm running it. And we have the patented controller disconnect. Hopefully it comes back. Come on, buddy. There we go. If you do not want to run Vampire, that is more than fine. You can run Pestilent Colossus. I run Pestilent Colossus when I'm in a group of 2 or more. That way you can coordinate this ult with somebody's Leap or a Dawnbreaker or an Onslaught. Give them the major vulnerability so they hit even harder. They're both very good ultimates. They both cost roughly the same. So those are both very good. For solo play, I like the healing a little bit more. And finally, guys, if this didn't desync and desync health bars, this would be a very good option as well. Pulls Nightblades out of stealth. Very good single target. You dot somebody up, you summon a Blast Bones, you drop this, you go in, and you can just have very good sustained pressure. I would love to run this ultimate again. ZeniMax, please let me run this ultimate again. Please. Like, if you don't want to desync people, you know, absolutely do not run it. If you feel that just about every skill in the game desyncs, because, you know, it kind of does, don't run this skill. You know, or run the skill or whatever. Like, it's up to you. Like, just know that that's what it does, and if you're choosing to do that, now you know. Resolving Vigor, Poison Injection to proc our Master's Bow. Intensive Mender. I went with Intensive Mender for this build because we have high resistances. Now, damage mitigation. When you have stuff like Major Protection, minor, you know, Major and Minor Protection, when you have Minor Maim, Major Maim, those come into play after your resistances. And so the higher your resistances, are, the less valuable damage mitigation can be. And so you'll see when you have really high resistances that, and if you go on a calculator and you look at your overall damage mitigation, sometimes like Major Protection could even only up your damage mitigation by 2 to 3%. Since we have high resistances, I opted for the bigger heal. And so the other morph of this reduces your damage by 10%, which is also very valuable. This one heals you for more. And so if you were to run Impregnable, I would run the other morph of this because you would have more damage mitigation that way because you don't have the resistances that I do. Since I am running Impreg or Fortified Brass, Intensive Mender will give you more healing. And this is a very valuable heal. Since we are an Imperial, we can actually have very good uptime on this skill. So this skill not only heals us, but it heals others, and it allows us to just survive through, you know, more healing. And so we have high damage mitigation, we have high healing. We're just tough to kill for that reason. Summoner's Armor, Major Resolve, Major Ward, and Shuffle. So it gives us major evasion. Each piece of media armor worn grants immunity to snares and immobilizations for 1 second. So we're supposed to have 5 seconds of immobilization to snares and immunity to immobilizations and snares when we have Shuffle up. So very, very valuable skill. I think it's in a very good spot. I don't think they need to adjust this skill at all. Pretty good cost with the value that it provides as far as snare immunity. I think it's in a good spot. So hopefully they leave it alone. As far as our CP tree goes, guys, 56 Warlord, 1 into Siphoner, 75 Mooncalf, 5 Arcanist, 49 Tenacity, 61 into Tumbling, 23 into Shadow Ward, 15 into Blessed. Now, this is where we get our off-balance damage in Scalebreaker. We need 120 points in this tree in order to get the Tactician passive. So we're going to throw 81 into Master at Arms because this will boost our Onslaught, our D-Swing, our direct damage attacks. We want to make sure we boost that as much as possible. 39 into Physical Weapon Expert. We will be light and heavy attack weaving, and so that gives us our 120 to get, when you use roll dodge to dodge an attack, you set the enemy off balance. And then we have 75 points plus in this one, increase your damage done against off-balance enemies by 10%. And so those two synergize very well with this build. We're going to be able to set people off balance, and we are going to do more damage once they are off balance. So we got 56 mighty, 39 into piercing, 40 into precise strikes. You can adjust this if you want to take more out of piercing. You can throw it into precise strikes. I don't think you really need much in a thaumaturge. Our poison injection does enough damage as it is. 72 ironclad, 51 resistant, 66 thick skin, 49 hardy, 32 LE defender for the unchained passive. Unchained is very valuable, and then none over here. So I'm not saying that's perfect. That's just what I've been running. As far as the next patch goes, guys, people are going to ask, like, hey, is this going to be effective? Is this going to be effective in Dragonhold? Honestly, guys, when this video comes out, we will be week 2 of the PTS, and so we don't know a whole lot yet. All I know so far is they reduced the dots by a lot, and we are only running 1 dot with this build. And so we will be even tankier next patch than we are this patch because, you know, we're just not running across people dotting us down and ending our lives very quickly. So this build will be more formidable in that department. We will also have an unblockable CC, which will make it better. Our D-Swing won't hit as hard. Our Blast Bones will when it does land. We will still have the killing power to kill people with this build. Now, depending on what they do with dots, will depend on if we take off our defensive set and we go with 2 offensive sets. You know, so if dots stay the way they are, we're essentially looking at Elsewhere all over again, where it's going to be a very bursty tank meta, and we're going to want to run as much burst as possible. So Pariah will probably come off, Fury will probably come on. So as far as the sets go, or as far as the skills go, I really do like the setup. I think it works out very well for solo and small scale PvP. I have quite a few clips for you guys. If you guys have any questions about the build, please provide it in the section below. I will hopefully do this build some justice because, like I said, I've been having a lot of fun with it. I love the mobility. I love that we can make medium survive, and I love just the 3-piece damage that we can get with this build. So that's the end of the video. I have some clips for you guys. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day. Alright, guys, so this first clip, we're fighting in between, Farragle and Robeck. I had a little 1v1. I had 3 people jump in, so the guy that I was dueling backed up. So I get this little 1-on-3, go with the D-Swing, Onslaught, Blast Bones, execute. He drops over dead. Necromancer's a lot of fun. When everything lands, it is a very bursty class, and burst is a lot of fun in PvP. Now you see we have support build coming in, and they're just going to try to revive. So right now I have a support build attempting to revive and a snipe spammer in the back. And the snipe spammer is going to dot me up with a bunch of things and basically hit me with defiles and hope to dot me down. And it's typically tough to deal with, especially in this patch because the amount of damage that dots do plus defile is pretty gross. But I can't really go after him because he's a Nightblade. If I went towards him, they would get this revive up, and the Nightblade might cloak or shadow image away or whatever, and I wouldn't be able, like, I would go from a 1-on-2 to a 1-on-3. So my entire goal here is to try and stay on this body and get some good burst down. I get a nice burst there, but he goes back to blocking. He pops a barrier. Barrier just completely negates my blast bone damage, and he's just trying to fear here, he's really focused on this revive. And so I'm going to prevent that from happening. We see one more person riding in the distance towards us, so we're going to have a little bit more action. And so we're just summoning the Blast Bones, dotting him up, just trying to whittle him down and eventually build our Onslaught to where we can burst him down, you know, better than what I did before. He goes for the revive there, which I didn't see. I just got lucky with the bash. Summon a Blast Bones. Now we have a Magplar coming in. We get hit with a Bow ulti, which does a bunch of dot damage. So we're going to go on the defensive and Vigor up, pop our heals, pop our rally heal. The Blast Bone takes his health down quite a bit. He's on the squishier side. So we're going to focus our target to somebody else. So I take a bunch more damage. Like I said, I recycle my buffs, heal back to full. And we're just going to focus down this Magplar. And so I summon the Blast Bones. He goes for the revive. I hit him with an Onslaught. I bash the revive. I hit with a D-Swing and an Execute. He drops over dead. So now we have 2 bodies down. The support build is left. He got tired of me bashing the revive, so he decided to go somewhere else. So now it's just me versus the Nightblade. And I'm going to use my Camo Hunter to pull him out of stealth, and I'm just going to stop him from attempting to do that. I'm a little bit lower on resources, but it's just one person. It should be okay. I'm going for the D-swings. I thought I'd get the CC there. That's why I went for the execute. He shadow images back. I switch pots here to pop a detect pot, and he's in the back peppering me. And so I'm going to dodge roll, set him off balance. Quick medium attack, stuns him. We're going to hit him with the onslaught, so he has full pen. The blast bones hits him. He takes more damage. D-swing, execute. He drops over dead. Now we have a pet Sork over here getting the revives. I go to interrupt him. I get CC'd. And so now we have the pet Sork and the just recently revived healer. And so my blast bones goes after the Sork. I'm trying to take out the healer because they're at lower resources. And so it should be a little bit easier to kill him than a Sork that just showed up. Healers are typically #1 on your priority list for taking out anyway. So we're going to dot him up with poison injection. Keep summoning the blast bones. Quick D-swing. Blast bones goes off. D-swing. He drops over dead. So now we have a Sork coming in. Set him off balance. Quick medium attack. Now we're going with blast bones and D-swing. We have another Sork, so I go to check out him to make sure he doesn't get the body up. Set him off balance. We're going to hit him with a poison injection. Summon a blast bones. And so you'll see in this fight, guys, they drop a vigor, or they drop a negate on me. At this point, my rally accidentally fell down. So I take a bunch of damage. I try to rally heal back to full. It did not work. And so now I have to go full defensive, pop some vigors, pop my mender, and I'm just getting hit by pets. I'm getting hit by the Atronach. So I decided to go into bats. And so this guy's trying to revive, so we're going to do D-swing, blast bones. Blast bones eventually lands. We get the execute after 2 D-swings, and he drops over dead. We finally just have one more Sork, and so we're just going to summon our blast bones. He takes a little bit, D-swing, blast bones, execute, it's over. So this next fight, we're going to be fighting outside of Brindle. I kind of thought a group was coming over here because they just took Nickel. And so I come over here and there's about 3 people outside. It was a pretty large group, so I immediately go off to the side here. We get a Warden by himself. And so I summon a blast bones trying to take him out. Take him to half health with a D-swing, but he doesn't get knocked over. And now I'm getting hit. I see a bunch more people coming over, so now I have to peel off and move off to the side here. And so this clip is really going to show you guys the survivability and sustain of getting hit by a bunch of people, so you guys can see, you know, how basically what our survivability is as well as our damage. So you see we have a Nightblade coming in. You see we have another Nightblade up top there hitting us with arrows. So we're going to try and focus him. He cloaks away. And so now we're just going to go after this guy right here that's hitting us with light attacks. We're going to summon a blast bones. We're going to hit him with a D-swing. We're going to hit him with an onslaught and an execute. He dies before the blast bones gets there. We dodge roll, set this guy off balance. We have that Nightblade basically CCing us out of stealth. It's always a good time. We have more attention, so we decided to back up a little bit further. Looks like we have about 4 or 5 people, not counting the people that are in stealth that you will see later. And so we're just summoning our blast bones. They take a bunch of damage from a friendly leap, so it looks like we have about a 5-on-2 or a 6-on-2. And so I'm just basically trying to buff up. They're really focusing me. The DK's doing a good job focusing them as they are focusing me. You see I got a lot of heat. I'm just basically trying to keep my buffs up, keep my vigor up, trying to stop the dot cheese from really wearing me down. I get hit with a bow ulti here. I'm on the ground. I got CC'd. Really a whole bunch of damage, but I managed to heal through it. Now I'm getting hit with Soul Trap. We got 5 more people just beating on me. So I take a CC there. I had to dodge roll back. This guy's almost dead. I drop an execute. We get 1 quick kill there. And then this guy's still at half health because he's not healing. So we're going to hit him with a poison injection. We're going to hit him with a D-swing. And we're going to go for the kill, and the dot finally kills him. Our poison injection dot ticked on him, and he died. So now we have what looks like a 3-on-2, but there's another one, so that's still a 4-on-2. He goes for the leap, which is perfect. I onslaught this guy. He decides to stealth. I pull him out of stealth with my Camo Hunter. A couple quick executes. We get another kill. And so now we have the DK. Now he's on the offensive because he's getting focused by 2 people. And now we have another Nightblade coming out of stealth, so it's a 2-on-4 once again. He's getting leapt on. He's taking a bunch of damage. And we can't really do anything to get him off him. You know, we can't streak. We can't do we don't have an AoE CC. So all I can do is hope to take out this Magplar and reduce his incoming damage. He gets focused really hard, so now he's dead. It's a 1-on-4. And so we have the bubble encasing us in place. We have a snipe spammer. We can't stop that revive from happening because if we go over there, we're just going to get encased and we're going to get sniped out. So all we can do is kite. I get hit with another bow ulti. I go into my bats, and my bats here are going to keep me alive long enough to where I can try to go on the offensive. Really trying to focus this Magplar, but, you know, bubble's pretty powerful right now. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's pretty rough to deal with. When they pop the bubble on them, it just kind of encases you in place, and you can't move. And not being able to move is the death of solo PvP. And so I have to really hope to catch them with a really nice burst, and they're on top of me, Purifying Light. I take the Crescent. I'm slowly just ticking down, and I'm trying to stay alive, and I drop over dead. This last fight, guys, I'm outside of Black Boot. Yellow's taking it, so I go in on this guy, hoping to get the kill. I go for the Blast Bones Onslaught. He gets healed in between it, so I don't end up getting the kill. Now I'm getting hit with Soul Trap, and I'm buffing up. I get hit with a D-Swing. They're going for the Execute. So I'm going to heal up, and I'm going to try and single out the Nightblade that's sniping me. And so I'm going to summon a Blast Bones. I'm going to go for the D-Swing. Blast Bones doesn't go off. I ended up not casting it. If I had a Blast Bones there, I might have killed him. Now we have a Magplar in there with us as well. So we're just going to keep our heals up. We're going to keep our Mender up, keep our buffs up. We have 4 people on us, and so we're just going to kite around here, and we're just trying to pick out a target. So you see we have a Nightblade here. We got another Nightblade here. We have a Warden, and we have a Templar. And so we're just trying to see who takes damage. He takes a bunch of damage from our Blast Bones, so I'm going to summon it on him. I go for the D-Swing. He takes a Resto Ult with the Blast Bones. I go for the Onslaught. I get feared at the perfect time, and I don't get to finish the kill because now I'm getting focused pretty hard by just about everybody. But I'm still trying to focus him down because he's not healing to full. And so I'm buffing up. I got my Vigor. I got my Intensive Mender. I'm keeping my Rally buffs up. I learned from my lesson before. And this guy takes a big Blast Bones. Now I'm getting hit with the Bow Ulti that does a big dot on me. So now I got to go back on the defensive. I got to buff up. I'm at low resources, so now I'm going to kite back into this tower. And so you see me just keep my buffs up, keep cycling my heals. And you see I got a Magplar coming in. And I dodge roll to set him off balance. I summon my Blast Bones. We get a nice negate from the ads. D-Swing, Onslaught. The Templar's down, so we're going to buff up once again. This guy took a bunch of AoE damage, so we're going to focus him as well. So we summon a Blast Bones. We go for the D-Swing. He's doing a good job of kiting around the corner. And this guy's trying to revive. I get feared. I can't bash him, so I end up trying to bash him like 3 times. Take a bunch of damage. I heal back up. Pop a Vigor. Pop a Shuffle. Get feared. Bash the revive. I hit him with a Poison Injection just to let the dot tick, and I'm just trying to cycle buffs. We got another guy attempting to CC our revive. Go with the D-Swing, Onslaught. Takes a bunch of damage. We have another one down. We have another one almost down. We're going for the Execute, and he runs up around the corner. I don't have a gap closer, so I couldn't catch up to it. He drops his trees, so now he heals back to full. We almost had a double kill there. And then we hit a load screen, guys. That's just how the game works sometimes. We hit a load screen, and it's not that big of a deal, luckily this time, because somehow we're still alive. We have 3 people left, but the thing that happened that I didn't notice is I take a bunch of damage here, and you'll see that I go to pop my Rally, and my Rally was down because of, you know, hitting a load screen. But that's the end of the fight, guys. Hopefully I did this build some justice, kind of showed you the survivability, the sustain, and the damage. I have hit very nice onslaughts with this build. You know, I have solid damage, but the survivability is really the must in Scalebreaker. You need to stay alive long enough so that you can dish out damage, and if you can't, you know, you're just going to be dead and you're going to be unhappy. So this build's worked out really well for me. I really enjoy Necromancer. I've had a lot of fun playing this build. It's fun to get back to being kitey and fast and dishing out high damage and getting out. And yeah, I'm probably going to keep playing this until the end of the patch because that's just how much fun I've been having with it. As always, guys, like I said before, if you guys have any questions or comments, please provide in the section below. I'll do my best to answer it. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.